Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Lena. Welcome back to another video. So today I have a really quick video for you because it's going to be filled with small books. It's not something that I usually read, if I'm being honest, like short books, but we want to talk about short books today. They're all under 300 pages almost. Some of them have like 320, but it's fine. I had a lot of them actually, so I decided to divide this into two. We're going to talk about I think 12 of them today, and then we'll talk about the other ones later down the year, like probably much later, because I also have one about big books again. Yes, so let's just start up with the sci-fi. This is The Collapsing Empire by John Scalzi. I have talked about this series a couple of times because even though my journey with John Scalzi wasn't really successful at first, I discovered that I really enjoy this series by him. All the books in this series are super short. So basically in the future, every single planet is connected by this thing called the flow. You basically enter there and it's kind of faster than light travel, let's call it that. It's just a really fast way to travel basically between colonies. So basically the empire is just like gigantic, and it has expanded through many planets. But one day something starts apparently going wrong, and the thing is that the flow is not like a fixed thing, is actually changing and is cutting communications with some of the colonies, and that's a mess. That's a mess because most of them depend on other colonies for resources or whatever. So yeah, the concept is great. I really enjoy this one. I cannot wait to actually finish this trilogy, but yeah, amazing if you want like a quick sci-fi. Oh, before I forget, this is Kingdom of Needle and Bone, and this is actually a novella. I'm not a huge fan of novellas. I have only read a few, and even though I have like quite of them, I'm still not like, nah. But this is by Mcguire, aka Myra Grant. I read this one, I think almost 2 years ago, and if you're really sensitive, careful with this one because it's about a virus and vaccination and stuff like that. So careful with that, you know. I really like this one. It was a good reflection, you know, upon like anti-vax people and such. It was a really cool and weird concept at the same time. I really enjoyed it. I've heard mixed things about it, but as I told you, it's a really short novella, but it's great. Then let me just squish this one here. This is probably the book that inspired this, because this is Unsouled by Will White. This is a fantasy series and is first one in the Cradle series basically, and it was amazing. I read it last month and I love it. I'm about to read the second one, which is also this short. This one is not even 300 pages. No, perfect length if you don't want if you want to dive into fantasy but not like into huge like high fantasy. But in this one we basically follow Lyndon, and he is branded an Unsouled, meaning that he doesn't have the affinity with the magic that his tribe wills basically. So he is forbidden to practice any type of magic related to them, but he's basically going to fight his way around this basically. Lyndon is a super smart character. I love those type of characters. Are my thing. But yeah, this one was amazing. The ending was great. Like so many things were thrown up there. If you like sufficiently advanced magic, you're really going to like Unsouled by Will White. Like, you're going to love it. And if you also like little RPGs, you're going to love it also. And then you have here an urban fantasy. This is The Last Mile in Sunder City by Luke Arnold, and I read this the end of last year if I remember correctly, and it was such a surprise. I was already going into this one knowing that I was going to like it, but I really enjoyed it. This is really a mix between The Wolf Among Us and Alien Noir. It's just such a great mix, you know, like detectives, but it's kind of fable-y. If you haven't played The Wolf Among Us, basically it's a playable version of the graphic novels Fables, which are great, by the way. Highly recommend that you try them if you like graphic novels because they are so good. But basically in this world, magic has disappeared. All the magical beings are now changing. For example, vampires are getting really old, banshees can no longer talk. It's amazing. The concept of this one is great. So we're going to follow Fetch. He's an investigator and he's trying to find out what happened to one of these old vampires. There's a twist there. So cool. It also reminded me a lot of Carnival Row. But the twist at the end was great, worth every single page of this novel. Again, super short, super sweet. And I also highly recommend the audiobook, by the way. Oh, then a super quick thriller. I read this in January, I believe, or in February. The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson. Whoa, this book is amazing. Like, it's probably one of the best thrillers that I have read. It was so good. We basically start following this guy, and he's starting to suspect that his wife is actually cheating on him. So he's about to take a plane, but he meets this girl there in the bar, and she's just like, "You think she's cheating on you? We should probably kill her." And that's it. That's all I'm going to say. The twist in the middle, great. It has quite of an open ending. If you don't like that, careful, but it's not like outrageously open. It's just like, oh damn, it's just great. I love this one. I might round this one up to 5 stars because I still think about it and I still think it was fantastic. So highly recommend, highly recommend, and you can binge read this in a day. It's just so good. Don't be afraid with this, okay? It's not what you think. No, this is a bind up of 3 novels. We're going to talk only about Annihilation. Also probably because I don't like authority, probably. But we're going to talk about Annihilation, which is again another sci-fi thriller. Can we call it thriller? It's just so weird that I don't really even think it's a thriller. It's just a really weird book. You have probably heard about this already, or you maybe watched the movie Netflix, which is actually pretty good. Not like 100% accurate. It's not like a perfect adaptation, but it's actually quite good. Quite good. I really enjoyed the movie. Basically, in Annihilation, we discovered that there's this secret area called Area X. And it's kind of expanding a little bit. It's like a territory and is getting bigger and bigger. The government is trying to figure out what the hell is going on inside, because every time they send someone, either they don't come back, or they come back like really changed. It's really weird. But now they are sending like a team of women, which is another variable that they haven't tried. It's just amazing. You know, it's really weird. It's not going to be for everyone because the ending is extremely weird. The novel in itself, it's a mindfuck. Careful with that, really careful with that. But it's one of my favorite science fiction books. So I will still recommend it. With a grain of salt, careful with that, but still really good. Then because I'm just going through a phase with this book lately, I don't know, This Is Never Die by Rob J. Hayes. It's super short. The first one is so short. I will include Paul's Gambit in the future, but I haven't read it yet. In this one, we basically follow this child who has been tasked by a Shinigami, a god of death, to go and kill so he can resurrect these 4 heroes to help him basically defeat the Emperor. The concept of Never Die is so cool, man. I just can't. But yeah, I really enjoy this book. It's such a fun ride. There's a scene, especially towards the end, in a kind of bamboo forest that is incredible. It reminded me a lot of a video game that I've played, that I won't tell because I don't want to spoil you. But super good. Then we have here My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix, which is 330 pages. This is one of those that I was just like, am I going to include it? I don't know. But I really like this book, and you can fly through this one because it's a mix between horror and contemporary. His books are mostly like contemporary, but the horror element is there all the time, but it's not like in your face. I really liked it. In this one, we basically follow 2 friends, and one of them starts to suspect after they had like this trip to a lake that her friend is actually possessed by the devil. And it's just so cool. There's a lot of commentary in how we treat teenagers and such, and how like their parents treat their children. It's a lot, but this book is so good. Damn, I even cried a little bit because I was so invested emotionally in this. It was great. I highly recommend this one. Again, it's set on the 80s. It's amazing. Can we just admire this damn cover? It's just everything. everything. Then of course I had to recommend you like The Wayward Children by Mcguire, because I really like Mcguire in general. I'm pretty sure you know what the series is about, but in case you don't, we basically are set in this can we call it school? Can we call it school? Maybe. It's basically for children that have gone into a magical world and come back. Something like if the kids of Narnia came back, basically. So they are now fucking destroyed emotionally. Well, they will go to this school. They are all super short novellas. We have, the first one is set on the present in our world. The second one is in a magical world. And they go switching like that into this, until the last one. This is the sixth one. I still need to read this. I just got it on the mail a couple of days ago. But I will just read it in a day because they are so short. They are super sweet. I highly recommend this one. My favorite one is the second one, Among the Sticks and Bones, because it's gothic horror. Vampires, amazing. Then I have here the Andromeda Strain by Michael Crichton. I searched the other day how the name was said, but I don't remember. Crichton. Michael Crichton, that. I really love his works in general. I'm also a huge fan of his adaptations. I kind of forgot to include the Andromeda Strain on my, the book was not better, but I really like the book and I really like the movie, so I wasn't sure about that. But basically in this one, we follow a group of scientists, and basically a satellite comes back to Earth, but is actually carrying like a alien virus. It's super cool. I love this book. I don't talk about it that much, if I'm being honest. Look at my copy. It's just like so beat up. Yeah, I highly recommend if you just want like a sweet sci-fi read. The writing style is quite dry. It's really straight to the point. So if you like that, you're going to really enjoy this. Then of course, I'm going to recommend you another horror book. This is A Bird Box by Josh Malerman. I really enjoyed this book. Like, damn. We basically are set on Earth, and then for some reason, when people go outside, they see this thing, we don't know what it is, that makes them suicidal. And it's just such a damn cool concept. Also, the book is structured between jumping between the present and the past, and it's super cool. In the present, Mallory is in a boat, and in the past, Mallory is just in the first days of this kind of apocalypse, for call it something. I also enjoyed the adaptation. I didn't love it. I thought it was okay. But like the book much better. By the way, highly recommend the audiobook. If you're an audiobook person, get the audiobook for Bird Box. It's fucking scary as hell. The scene on the well, so creepy. We are down to the last two books. So Crichton is kind of a dry writer. So for those of you who really like lyrical writing and stories, I have here the Deathless Girls by Kieron Milgro-Hargrave, which is the most beautiful book that you're ever going to see. Yeah. So this is a retelling about the Brides of Dracula, but there's not much plot going on here. It's basically mostly like an atmosphere read and like a character-driven read. So it's not really my thing, but I really enjoyed it. So we basically follow these two sisters, and they are one of them gets kidnapped, you know, and I'm not really going to tell you much. Like, you know Dracula's story, and yeah, this is a retelling about the Brides of Dracula. It's really cool, but if you're expecting vampires, they don't show up until the kind of last part of the book. So careful with that. Lower your expectation a little bit. But it's a really cool, beautiful book. So if you want just that. So the atmosphere is just so good. But check it out. I really enjoyed it, and it's definitely not my type of book. Oh, fuck. I really need to find a place for these new books. So the last book that I'm going to talk about is Magic for Liars by Sarah Kadely, which is probably an unpopular opinion, but I actually really like this book and I think it's great. But the marketing was terrible for it, like terrible. It was sold as like Hogwarts, but with a murder mystery, and it's not that at all. So careful. careful with that. The thing is that that's only the premise of the book. We're going to follow Ivy. She's a private investigator, and she receives this call from her sister asking her that if she can come to her magical school to investigate a murder that happened. But that's only the context and the premise of the book. There's so much going on apart from that. Like, there's a lot of thinking about expectations and what do you ask yourself. It's a lot. It's a very kind of a reflexive read more than anything, so careful with that. Don't go in here expecting like magic everywhere and such, because actually our main character doesn't have powers, so careful again with that. So yeah, that's basically going to be all for today. What a quick video. I'm so proud of myself right now. But yeah, as always, have you read any of these books? Please let me just know down in the comments below, because I really want to know your opinion, and I also really want more people to read Magic for Liars and enjoyed it. It's a really misunderstood book. But yeah, so as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye.